friends, it's me, Miss Briston, here with another story time for you. Because it is October, I'm going to do a sort of spooky story time for you today. Don't worry, it's not going to be too scary, but in case you're nervous, there's a couple of things you can do to prepare today. My favorite thing to do to prepare before I do something kind of nervous is to bring a friend. I have a friend behind the camera that you can't see, but I also brought Benny, and he's here today in case I get a little too nervous. So what I would suggest for you is to grab a friend. It could be a real life friend, like a grown-up or a brother or sister, or a stuffed friend like Benny, and just keep him in your lap. That'll help. Another thing you can do is breathe. We've done breathing exercises before, so you might remember this one. We're just going to run through it a couple of times. We're going to do the birthday breath, and we call it that because as you breathe in, you're going to pretend like you're smelling a cake. Think of your favorite cake, chocolate or vanilla, or my favorite, which is pineapple upside down cake. And then when you blow your breath out, you're going to pretend like you're blowing out a big candle. So we're going to do it twice. So let's take a big deep breath in, smell that cake, and blow out that candle. One more time, okay? Big deep breath in, smell that cake, and blow out that candle. Okay, we're ready. We're going to dive into our first book today. It's called Spooky Poems Aloud. I'm not going to read the whole book to you today. There's lots of poems in here. In fact, I think there's 25. That's a lot. But I'm going to read a couple of them. We're going to start with this, and we're going to end with this book today. These poems are by Joseph Coelho and Daniel Gray Barnett. And our first poem is called The Thing in the Swamp. At the bottom of a quarry where the old swamp lies, all bubbling and squelching like a monster's evil eye, one child is playing, throwing sticks and stones. The swamp swallows each one, goodbye stick, goodbye stone. The child keeps on larking, getting closer as he plays. The swamp seems to sense him in a dark, mysterious way. The child's foot slips at the edge of a gurgling pool. His sneaker comes away sticky, covered in monstrous drool. Ew, gross. Thick and black like tar, the sneaker is ruined. The child weeps on the ground, unaware of what the swamp is doing. Its center starts to bulge, a bubble of licorice ink. The bubble gets taller. The bubble starts to think. It glides across the swamp, becoming more like a man, a body of darkness, no features, fingers, or hands. Just a rough man-like sludge that slithers ever near. The child is sad about his sneaker. The child doesn't hear the swamp's gentle sludging as it oozes behind its back. The child doesn't see the swamp crouch for the attack. But no attack comes. It raises a drooping arm. The sludge upon the sneaker sloughs off like it's been charmed. It rejoins the goo, now looming behind the boy. It leaves his sneaker spotless, replacing his tears with joy. Bleary-eyed the boy turns, having heard a squelching pop. But there is nothing to be seen, except the dark, silent slop. The boy gets up to leave, staggers quietly to his home. His sneakers newly cleaned, the swamp left sad and alone. And that was The Thing in the Swamp. Again, we're going to come back to this book at the end. But for now, we're going to read Melvina Whitmore, which is more or less a horror story by Faith Capalia. Melvina Whitmore was afraid of everything. She was afraid of snails and spiders. I'm scared of those too. And the ticking of clocks. She was afraid of dogs and holes in the wall, of tracking mud on the carpet, and of the sound of floorboards creaking beneath her feet. Sometimes she was even afraid of her own shadow. But when Melvina Whitmore bought her new home on Salisbury Lane, she hoped that she had finally found somewhere safe. Nothing could ever get to her here. As Melvina settled into her bed, in her new room, in her new house, she knew that she had nary a thing to fear. Nary means nearly nothing. Until, oh, this is weird. Okay. Bang! The floorboards shook beneath her, the walls began to rattle, the knob on the door began to turn, and the photos on the walls looked like they were alive. The muffled voices that bounced off the hallway walls were too loud and too many, and Melvina could feel the hairs on her neck stand straight up. Melvina tiptoed out of her bedroom and down the hallway, a massive twisting and turning, a place with no up, no down, and where all the floorboards creaked and the walls felt alive. She climbed and crawled and eventually found herself at the end of a hallway where she could hear shouts and hollers echoing up the looming staircase. What do you think is going on up there? And also, why are we holding this book this way? In her home, tracking mud across the carpet, ooh, she doesn't like that, and rattling the old bones of the house were, well, Melvina didn't know quite what they were, actually. They were small and large, and some had many legs, and some had none, and they moved in rhythm and with purpose. They seemed to be enjoying themselves. Do they look scary to you? They don't look too scary to me. Melvina was so afraid that she did the only thing she could think to do. She ran. Melvina ran as fast as she could. The creatures and critters and horrible beasts reached for her with her clawing hands and sharp talons. Melvina felt small as she scaled the looming stairs, fearful that she might slip. These monsters down here, they don't necessarily look like they're chased. They look concerned. As Melvina rounded each corner and zigzagged through the hallway, she could hear the thunderous footsteps not far behind her. She turned left and right and left again so many times she lost count, until finally she had reached her bedroom. Oh, looks like we're back to safety here. Melvina dove into her bed, closed her eyes tight, and knew that here she would be safe. However, safety is not always what we expect it to be. Excuse me, but we'd really like you to join your housewarming party. We didn't mean to scare you, we were just so excited to celebrate, the skeleton rattled. A housewarming party? Melvina asked. With a delightful commotion, the monsters and beasts and ghosts and ghouls tumbled into her room, shouting and cheering. Of course, said the skeleton, this is your home after all. And they were right. This was her home. Here, with her new friends and their claws and fangs and many feet, she was free to have all the fun she wanted. Melvina had finally found somewhere safe. The end. And that was Melvina Whitmore, more or less a horror story by Faith Capellia. So we're going to finish out our story time today with another poem. So if you're feeling a little nervous, don't forget to hug your friend. I'm going to give Benny another hug as we get into our last poem. Thanks, Benny. And our last poem today is called Clump. It was clumping of footsteps, clump, 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 from the cellar below that woke me as the storm jolted and jumped. The power was out, all was dark. The running stairs lolled ahead of me as the wind kicked at the windows. First step, creak. Second step, creak. Third step, clomp from above. The carpet was so cold it felt wet as I climbed the jagged tread of the stairs as the rain nailed the house's bones. The attic door swung on its joints as the storm heel-toed around the roof's tapping tiles. In the lightning-lit flashes of the attic's window, I saw it, a single withered leg, skin dried and tight, nails long and black, hopping towards me. Clump, clump, clump. All right, that is all I have for you today for our sort of spooky story time. Hopefully it wasn't too spooky and it was a lot of fun. Until next time, I hope you have a great rest of your October, and I will see you later.